serene night in Paris is about to explode. England playing South Africa at Stade de France. They've met on 28 occasions. South Africa has won 15. There's been one draw. This year's form has been very, very interesting. Apart from the win over Wales, which we've found out was rather false in terms of Wales' preparation for that game, England's form has been fluctuating dramatically. They've played 5 Six Nations matches in February, March. They won 3 and lost 2. A lot of criticism there. They lost to Ireland and Wales, incidentally. They sent a weakened team to South Africa. I mentioned that, for 2 losses, and were hosed in terms of try-scoring capability. They thrashed Wales, as I mentioned, but then they were beaten by France twice, and they were quite strongly exposed in those games, which were quite vigorous games. And they put 9 tries on Wales in that big win they had. But as I mentioned earlier, 8 of those tries came from forwards within 10 metres. South Africa, well, they've had a couple of those home tests against England. They beat Samoa as well. They had the Tri-Nations where they snubbed the 2 away games, you might recall, and virtually gave up the Tri-Nations to save themselves for the World Cup. Controversial tactics indeed. Had a massive win over Namibia, and that was the game where Eddie Jones started to assist with the coaching. A lot of people said his influence was felt in that game, and that was way too speculative. He'd only just joined the team at that stage, and they had a couple of sort of light hit-outs in August leading up to the World Cup. So very interesting preparation there with comparison to the other Southern Hemisphere nations, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bill. Friday night in Paris, the Stade de France plays host to another Rugby World Cup match between 2 great rivals. Both of these sides, South Africa and England, have a win on the board in their respective pools. They've played twice in Rugby World Cup matches in the history of the tournament. Percy Montgomery will play his part tonight. Back in '99 at this very ground, Stade de France, well, the South Africans were too good on the boot of Yanni de Beer. They blew the English off the paddock, but Martin Johnson had his revenge 4 years later in Sydney, or was actually in Perth at the Rugby World Cup. Went on to win the final in Sydney, the English, but they beat the South Africans on the way. So this is a decider in the sense that Rugby World Cup brings them together again, boys. Ben Schoon, Ben Darwin, early thoughts?
Thanks, Rupert. Yeah, very excited. Obviously, a massive pool match, Pool A. Particular significance, of course, also for Australian supporters back home. Just in for a titanic battle. Looking forward to it.
It'll be a titanic battle up front, Ben Darwin.
Well, scrum time, line-out time, it's all going to have to be done for both teams. I'd go so far as to say that the teams that doesn't win this game is probably out of the World Cup.
Particularly in test match, because 100.
There's one man who won't be running out onto the stadium
as I've
tonight.
said a long time, England are current holders of the World Cup, and full victory, as said, he's not going to be wanting to hand it over. So it was always going to be a great challenge between 2 countries, and it's just great excitement. I can see the whole of Paris is buzzing, and half of France are going to be here tonight as well. So we're hoping that we can play well.
Jake White, the South African coach, with Eddie Jones in his corner during this tournament, and there is the South African lineup. Very, very impressive against Samoa, and well, England are going to have their work cut out.
My question is, how much are they going to miss Schockberger in this back row? Otherwise, it's a richly experienced forward pack against what would be a very, very good English scrum, but otherwise they're going to dominate.
And that back line, of course, if it can get plenty of ball, if its forward pack can provide them with good quality ball, they're going to cause the English back line plenty of trouble tonight.
Well, who would have thought at last year's Rugby World Cup that 4 years down the track we'd see that Jake White and Eddie Jones talking tactics over the same side, South Africa. The team standing in front of them this evening in Pool A is England. They've had their own problems, Johnny Wilkinson and Ollie Barkley. Of course, injuries will prevent them from taking their part tonight at Stade de France. And Mike Catt, who has played plenty of Rugby World Cup games for England, the most, in fact, in their history. Just asked Jonah Lomu. We remember that moment well back in 1995, but he's come a long way, Mike Catt, and he'll have plenty of responsibility on his shoulders.
Absolutely, and I think a smart choice to play Catt at 10. There's obviously a little bit of talk during the week that Farrell would in fact start at 10. Look, in a game like this, a massive high-profile game in front of a packed house, I just think it's smart to go with the experienced choice of Mike Catt.
So the jerseys waiting to be worn for the English. Tonight they will be captained by that man Martin Corrie. Andy Farrell, well, maybe his biggest test in the 15-man game. He played 34 tests for England in Rugby League. He was their youngest skipper at 21 years of age and 4 months as the English arrive at the stadium.
I think the thing with the English side is they're always confident, no matter if they've lost 5 games in a row or not. They just seem to have an air of, I would almost call it arrogance. You've got the photo of yourself above your bay where you get changed. It's something for me. You know, one thing, you go to Twickenham and they've always got a better change room than you do. In a way, there's always a real air of confidence about this side. And it may be able to get them home tonight. They've got an enormous amount of spirit.
We've not had an easy week, as everyone knows. What you put it behind you. You know, we've had 48 hours now without any illness, any injury or whatever, so plenty of time to get our mindset right. And I think, you know, the players are going to come out firing tonight. They've got to. They know that. If they do anything less than that, then they're not going to be in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the team lineup.
Brian Ashton, the England coach, reflecting on some injury challenges for his side. Stay with us on Network 10. We will bring you the latest news as it pertains to Stephen Larkham and his chances of playing for the Wallabies against the Welsh at Millennium Stadium. Tomorrow, it'll be tonight in Australian time. An announcement will be made and we'll bring you the latest news on that. So a few concerns for the Wallaby coach, John Connolly.
As we said earlier, in that back row, Corrie is captain. The other 2 back rowers are very, very inexperienced comparatively. They're an old side, but they don't have the look of the 2003 team bench.
No, I agree with you. I think for this back line to function really well, they've got to play some really intelligent rugby against the South Africans. Play some field position, that's got to be crucial. Turn them around, put some pressure on them with some really solid defence and wait for the opportunities, wait for the turnovers, and when you get them, obviously take them with both hands and make them count.
There's the 2 players, Berger and Vickery, who won't be taking part tonight. I'd say the bigger loss is probably Berger not being in the side. Vickery can be reasonably well replaced.
We won't see Ollie Barkley either, but they look happy enough to be soaking up the atmosphere. You saw Scout Berger before taking a photo of himself in the stadium with that big crowd starting to fill their seats at Stade de France. These sides met twice this year. South Africa running out winners quite convincingly on both occasions. 58-10, that was a record score in that first match. 55-22 in the second, but we can't take too much from that, boys. It was a second-string English side, and it was really just a warm-up, a hit-out for the South Africans.
I think if this World Cup has so far has shown us one thing, it's that form goes right out the window.
Okay. You want? Yeah, okay. Can we... 30 minutes before? 30 minutes, yeah. 30 minutes before. Okay. Have a good day. Thanks, mate.
So the toss orchestrated by tonight's referee, Joël Jutge. And that is what we're playing for, the William Webb Ellis Cup. Martin Corrie will captain the English, John Smith. The 44th time he'll skipper the South African Springboks, and that is a record for his country. And there will be no shortage of nerves floating through the systems of all players, but especially that man Andy Farrell, a huge responsibility.
Absolutely. I think the South Africans are going to come at him. There's no doubt about that. They'll see him as a defensive weakness. They'll try to target him. They'll definitely try to isolate him. There'll be plenty of movement through the midfield by the South Africans. They'll try to isolate him. He's quite slow in defence laterally. There's no doubt he's going to see a lot of green jerseys tonight.
English side there look quite nervous to me. We talk about how a lot of sides, you can tell by the look in their eyes if they're ready to win or not. And to me, this English team doesn't have that confidence that many sides previous to this has.
Well, where is your focus now, Ben Tune? You're standing in the tunnel. You can hear the crowd getting excited about this big occasion, this great challenge. How are you feeling?
I guess it's trying to bottle up that intensity and hang on to it for a bit. Once you get out there, it's all about your first touch. If you're a back, your first catch of the ball, your first pass, your first touch, your first run, your first step, you want to get that one locked away in the bag. That'll settle down a few nerves. So that was always a focus for me. Get your hands on the ball early and get settled into the game.
one thing that Eddie Jones was very heavy on and might be portraying also to the South African side is you give yourself 3 skill points to remember. So from my perspective, it was, you know, right-hand shoulder down in the scrum, lifting the line-outs and clean out. But it's so hard when you walk out and your chest is shaking. There's 80,000 people going off their nut. The noise is just incredible given this scenario.
The great gladiators of rugby take the field walking past what they've dreamt of getting their hands on, the William Webb Ellis Cup. The big boys up front, the speed merchants out wide. Another masterpiece beckons at Stade de France. 2 great rivals, England, South Africa, and a big crowd here in Paris on a night that is perfect for rugby.
Well, I guess the question beckons, will this stadium see another upset? It's seen one monumental upset. Are we in for another one?
Well, it was 7 days ago, wasn't it, that Argentina came out against the home nation and sent them home disappointed and depressed. Eddie Jones, Jake White, they'll have their plan. Brian Ashton, the same. Paul Saki, you see there on the wing for England. They've certainly got plenty of age on their resume, but as you said before, Ben Darwin, that doesn't always translate to experience.
No, it's simply the number of tests under your belt. It's the situations that you put in and whether you've got some sort of memory to draw on in order to fix a situation. And England doesn't have that in the same numbers that this vastly experienced and, as John Smith said, extremely settled team. It was the most settled South African team he's ever been involved in.
Just about ready to go.
South Africa, we call them by the Red World, the French Army Choir.
Well, that was worth getting up for on its own. The anthems of 2 proud rugby nations. South Africa, you see there, a very, very strong forward pack. Stade gets an opportunity in the midfield, and the speed out wide, the experience at the back of Percy Montgomery, who equals the record of Jost van Westhuizen of 89 tests. And of course the English.
Again, Sheridan, 6'4", 125 kilos. We saw him on that run earlier on. It's going to put an enormous amount of pressure on Boyd to this game. It could decide the game. Focuses on scrums, I think, tonight for these two.
Backline-wise, I'm quite interested to see how the South Africans kick at Jason Robinson playing fullback. He's not a noted fullback in terms of his clearing kicks, so I think they may end up kicking the ball to him a bit. He'll love to run it, put him down on the ground and try to create those turnovers.
The Frenchman on his home turf, Joël, Jutge, about to get things underway. And Andy Farrell has the ball in his hands. He's played at Wembley. Now he's played at Stade de France. Opportunity abounds for both sides. And the opportunity here is to take the lead in Pool A. And already they're swinging low, Sweet Chariot in the stands as Andy Farrell finds the Springboks off the kickoff. Now it's South Africa with the first opportunities in this match at Stade de France. They roll them all downfield. There's plenty of wide in the crowd. There's also plenty of support for the Boks.
Probably getting an indication early on how the Springboks want to start with this match. They're going to keep it in the forwards, try to dominate the English pack, then unleash that back line when they get a chance.
How important is it, Ben Darwin, to get a settler, to get things happening the way that you planned all week at training in the early stages of a match?
Well, it's absolutely massive. You've got to get your minds around what the opposition's going to come at you. Again, you've got to try to focus on what's going on, and right in front of you all the time, the heat's coming on. I think the English the pack will be quite nervous today.
It's one of those things, I mean, you might practice a certain game pattern or a certain way a week. You get out there in the game, you do all your analysis on the opposition. You finally get out there and you work out that the opposition team is doing the complete opposite thing. And that's where the experience comes into it. I think that's where your experienced campaigners need to step up. And the good number 10s and the really good players that can read the game, can adjust the game plan accordingly on the run.
Great atmosphere here at Stade de France. Both of these sides have already played in Pool A. England beat the USA 28-10. And, of course, South Africa, 4 tries by Brian Habana, smacked the Samoans as Victor Matfield does what he'll do plenty of times tonight. That's his specialty.
Smith, superb line-out thrower, direct option to Boyd at the front. They want to drive it.
It's scrapping for the Springboks. Russo cleans up, but the referee wants to come back for the scrum.
Again, I think early on we're seeing an early indication of how the English as well are going to play this game. They're going to try to spoil the Springboks ball at every opportunity. They know this Springbok side with plenty of ball is going to be hard to contain.
Scrum time, first contact. Again, this massive battle up front. Sheridan's so tall for a loose head prop. He's really got to settle himself back into his second row.
Touch. Balls engaged.
Sean Perry, your typical little English halfback. The stocky, the sure pass, the extra forward out there, and that early scrum from England disrupted by South Africa. Corrie picks and drives, the English skipper.
The English here setting up Mike Catt in a perfect position for a clearing kick. They want to get rid of this ball. They want to be, not early on, they don't want to be mucking around with it inside their own half. Catt onto the boot. Good touch finder, good settler.
He played in the 1995 Rugby World Cup, Mike Catt, so that gives you an indication of his experience. His halfback, Sean Perry, only took up rugby full-time 2 years ago in 2005. He's a welder by trade.
South Africa's already trying different options, line-out time. Free kick straight away. They're going to try and punch it downfield.
Off the Pria's boot. And Josh Lucy played his 50th test against the USA last weekend. Does well in his 51st.
Josh Lucy played a lot of his football at fullback, so a high ball isn't going to cause him too much trouble. I think ideally they want that ball a little bit shorter so that Habana can get to Lucy when he gets the ball. That kick in particular was a fraction long.
So the Springboks play on quickly. And they cross the halfway with great momentum. Dupria, Stain. He hoists it high, Francois Stain. Robinson underneath it. And the little fullback for England. He scored their only try in a Rugby World Cup final in 2003. Does well, comes back. And Andy Farrell off the left boot. Finds touch.
That'll do Andy Farrell's confidence the world of good. I mentioned before, Josh Lucy, very safe under the high ball. The Springboks would have done their work, and they know Robinson isn't particularly good under the high ball. In that case, he stands up. Great take by him.
Another attribute of the typical English halfback is that he will be talking, he'll be yapping, he'll be chatting all night here at Stade de France, driving his forwards on, trying to get the best out of them. Another line out for the Springboks.
Again, the pattern of this game, Surfing will win their own ball, drive, get as much yardage as they can. They just want to engage these forwards.
Peterson down the right-hand touchline, and Saki makes the tackle, but he finds his little halfback. The halfback in Dupria stumbles. He finds Smith in return, and Juan Smith sets the Springbok supporters alight. That is a fine try to start this match. Peterson, Dupria, Smith, try.
Well, the tactic so far was catch, maul, box kick or punch downfield. You'd think for all money that was going to be one more box kick, as opposed to they hit Peterson flying down the blind.
Fantastic speed, good vision, tries to get around Robinson. Robinson up to the task, finding plenty of support. Dupria, and look, this is where the Springboks have such an advantage because they've got three extremely mobile back rows that can be there to take the final pass off a nine.
Well, Dupria did so well, it looked like he was going to put the kick in. He then decided to pass to Peterson, who caught the English winger napping, got around him, and all of a sudden there was an opportunity. Montgomery adds two to the...
Beautiful backing up by the South Africans. Another look at this decisive early try.
Oh, mistake there from South Africa off the kickoff. And this will bring England straight back into the match.
That's the last thing. Pretty obvious. I don't think we need an explanation for that one. That's a good old-fashioned knock-on.
Danny Rousseau makes the mistake that will give the scrum feed to England on this occasion.
And that's the last thing. Jake White would be pulling his hair out there because you've just scored a fantastic try. You got England on the back. You got England on the back foot. You get the kick off and you turn it over. You now give England the opportunity to get back into the match.
Ben Kay played in the last Rugby World Cup for England, all 7 matches including the final.
So England here, perfect opportunity for them to put pressure on the Springboks. Let's see how they go about this first attack.
The Borders had to change his tactics at scrum time.
Keep
Just listen to the ref.
Thank you. This is a mark. Crutch.
The first scrum.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
First scrum he was taken to school by Sheridan. He's just started to change his angle there. Look at that right shoulder.
Too slow.
So the penalty goes against England. And Faure Dupria, as he likes to do, plays on quickly. It's back over Robertson's head. He stumbles, picks it up and returns the kick.
The game being played at a frenetic pace so far. Both sides will think they're fit enough or fitter than the opposition.
So South Africa with the early lead, 7-0. Stain couldn't find Durant, but
here we
Habana
go.
Picks it up. Hey. And look out, Brian Habana. He's brought down, great tackle, Josh Lucy. They're right on the 22, South Africa. Dupria gets rid of it. Stain takes the hit. And they've turned it over. So South Africa looking so dangerous.
Brian Habana, first touch of the ball pretty much. Just one of those plays you have to keep an eye on for the full 80 minutes. It's going to make you, any little lapse in concentration, any little gap it gives you, have a look at this. Great footwork, acceleration.
We left Sean Perry
no chance of getting him. Great tackle from Lucy.
Had to be made. And both wingers in Springbok colours, you've seen their speed already, Peterson and Habana. 9 minutes gone, South Africa have the upper hand. Boita, Dupria shaped a pass, he was under pressure, takes it up himself.
The thing that's impressed me most, let's have a listen to this is for. A little bit of niggle.
They can't play. Will win number 3 white.
Number 3 white, Matt Stevens. Laying all over the ball, not rolling away. Quite a common tactic. It's a little bit hit and miss, the referees, in terms of whether or not they pick up on it. Matt Stevens there, testing his luck, getting caught.
Well, Joël Jutge that he did not roll away. I was going to say Percy Montgomery with that conversion took his test points tally to 799. But he's not going to crack 800 now because Francois Stade is taking this one. So the young utility player from the Natal Sharks, Francois Stade. Oh, he's up to it. He makes 7 points 10 for South Africa. They lead at Stade de France.
Well, this game looking every bit the way Jake Smith and Eddie Jones wanted it to be. They're all over England at the moment, South Africa. It's going to be a tough night for the Whites if they don't knuckle down.
It certainly will be, as Montgomery unleashes with the left boot and finds touch. A settler for South Africa, and they have all the ascendancy in the first 10.
Well, we knew they were going to be strong Ben Tune as their 2 backs. We didn't know JP Peterson would make such an impact after Habana had a cracker last week.
I think what we saw with that particular try is the variety that the South Africans are now playing with. They never, ever normally had that. They're pretty one-dimensional. They've now got a definite variety into their attack, which is making them a formidable opponent in every game they play.
Well, England, first line out on attack, has gone short within the 5, which basically says, I give up. I don't have enough attacking options.
So the referee wants to bring it back. Mark Reagan is an interesting tactic in the line out there, Dor, looking for the short runner early in the match. Is that going to be a sign of what's to come?
Well, you can't do that every time. You'll end up yourself in a little bit of trouble, but they're basically covered at 2, 4 and 6, so they're just trying to find another way to get around it. The problem was the take wasn't taken properly. As soon as the catch was made, ball popped out. It must give Matt Field an enormous amount of confidence going through this game. Here's the attempt. Underhanded pass. Smith was there straight off the bat. Ball was knocked on.
Andrew Sheridan knocking it on for England. Attention being given to their hooker, Mark Reagan. A serial pest came out of retirement this year, no doubt with the Rugby World Cup in his sights.
There is an option that perhaps if his arm was in trouble, he may not have been able to make the overhead throw.
So Dupria feeds for the Springboks. And that pass goes loose. Pressure from England, and Saki gets the kick ahead. Peterson cleans up for South Africa, but he's under pressure. Bucky's Boita supports him.
Springboks there in numbers.
And Dupria off his own right boot. Puts it up. Easter crashes back into the green defence. So England have the territory, and they have the ball. Saki. Perry wants it. The forwards take another charge. Sean Perry, a little bit slow there, back inside, the pass comes and into the traffic. The back's calling for it now.
They look a little lost, the English. No one's taking control.
Once again, the short pass. Over the advantage line they go. This time they spin it wide. And the drop goal. The drop goal is out to the left from Whitecat. And the score remains 10-0.
If I was South Africa, I'd be smiling all the way to the bank at the moment. If that's the best they've got, they tried to take it direct through the forwards. They didn't get any movement over the advantage line. They didn't suck any of the South Africa defence in. They've got Cat trying to take a shot at a drop goal. It's 14 minutes down. This is not going to win them the game. They've got to be more aggressive. They've got to try to get over this advantage line, recycle the ball.
So England return the 22 and hoist it high.
Well, that was close down on the full, surely.
Well, it is. Yeah. You can hear the mountain of support for England. The disappointment now is that kick from Mike Cat comes back to where it was taken.
No communication.
Matt Stevens, the Bath prop, is putting his boot on. We'll be back on Network 10 in a moment.
This is Stade de France, the man who isn't playing, Johnny Wilkinson. Ollie Barkley just to his right in the stands, and they certainly are missed at the moment.
Concerned looks on the faces of those Englishmen who are not on the pitch tonight. Victor Matfield, well, he took the ball, but when he hit the ground, he lost it forward, and so this scrum will pack down.
Oh, this is trouble for South Africa.
Is it Matfield clutching at his shoulder?
Who gets in trouble there, Ben Darwin? The lifter? Forgot to hang on to him at the top, or?
No, I think it was the English were able to take out the two lifters, and you can see Matfield was released in the air. I'll have to have a look at the replay.
Buy any plasma or LCD television from Harvey Norman now and we'll double the manufacturer's warranty to a maximum of 5 years. We also deliver free to the local area. Double the manufacturer's warranty and free delivery. Now that's a winning plasma and LCD television offer. This offer is only available to World Cup viewers.
Come on here.
The referee getting the scrum back in position. Matfield is okay.
Don't move, please.
Don't let him give. Don't let him give.
Don't let him give. Crunch.
Double bunch, yeah?
Crunch, please. Touch.
Well, the question will remain, is Victor Matfield okay? He spent some time on the sidelines during the Tri Nations series.
Come on here, come on here.
He would be a big loss to South Africa.
Massive. Border really isn't of the same ilk in terms of calling and deception, certainly the ability to get in the air defensively. Boyd is still finding himself in a lot of trouble here at scrum time, particularly on his own ball. This is England's scrum. Again, it creeps sideways, the pressure going across, and they've penalised South Africa.
So England earns a penalty from that scrum as the fisticuffs continue.
I think it would be fair to say that Victor Matfield's influence on the Springboks, and I guess in terms of the success of their campaign, is probably just as serious as if we lost Stephen Larkham in terms of the effect that would have on the Wallabies campaign. That's the type of influence he has over the team.
Absolutely, because there isn't anyone behind him. And that's the same with Stephen Larkham.
Decision to be made on the fitness of Stephen Larkham. Later on tonight, Australian time. Stay with us on Network 10. We will bring you all the latest news at this Rugby World Cup. Brendan Boyter made his Rugby World Cup debut for South Africa last week against Samoa in that 59-7 shellacking of the Islanders. And Reagan finds Shaw. Cat hits up for England. They peel and they drive, but that is great defence from the Springboks. This is Matt Stevens ploughing his way, trying to get over that advantage line.
The line speed from the South African defence here is unbelievable.
And they've turned it over.
Here's trouble. They got him this time.
So Havana funnels it back. Butch James plays halfback. Stade stands off and does the kicking. Jason Robinson plays on quickly. The excitement machine gets the legs moving. Jason Robinson manages to stay in the field of play. Crosses the halfway. Perry. Foul. Crosses the halfway and finds his support. Perry again comes to the left. Cat. Saki. Takes on Peterson. Gets a hand from Matfield. Victor Matfield still in some trouble. You can see him rolling away here. He's not 100%. The big South African lock.
The South Africans have this. At least killed it. There we go.
Turnover to South Africa. But from my viewing of Victor Matfield in the last few minutes, he's not quite 100%. You can just tell that he's favouring an injury that might have occurred at that last line out.
Well, he's not going into the defensive line at all. Just loping around the field a little bit. It's of enormous concern. The way that the South Africans fall is what is stopping him from recycling the ball with any great speed. That's caused a turnover there.
Well, it's not Matfield in the arms of the trainer. It's Matt Stevens, the Bath prop, born in Durban. So he takes on his country of birth. And it's South Africa 10, England 0, Stade de France.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
Midway through the first half, another set piece coming up. This is where England needs to control the game.
So Russo picks up the back wall. The referee's whistle had gone, but Russo is a little bit cranky about something there, and it's still on.
It's fine. Scrum again. Come on here. Not too early, White. Don't push too early. Don't push too early.
What a cracking battle come scrum time. They pull the right-hand side wheel, which is almost impossible to punch through. Stevens there going straight at Smith. Better from South Africa.
Well, it's turned over. Martin Corey picks it up. Perry.
You've got to use that ball. Turnover ball like that is gold in games like this.
Opportunity botched once again from England. That was a good old-fashioned against the head from England.
Look, there's no doubt the English have picked a massive pack, haven't they? Been done obviously to try to combat the South African pack. Both packs, I think, over 900 kilos.
Juan Smith, the try scorer. Well, it's over his head. The throw from Smith too long, and England through Perry find one of the big boys, but once again the defence is willing. Corey lends his weight, as does Easter.
A phase play, the English really struggling to get over the advantage line and struggling to get quick ball.
So what are their options here? Robinson from fullback. The tackle taken by the hooker, Mark Reagan. To the right they go. Well, it does look disjointed for the English. They're not quite sure what's happening out there.
What is here?
Perry comes back to the blind, and Saki this time has the job of taking it into the teeth of the defence. Peterson prominent.
But England South Africa have challenged at every breakdown. And it just meant they didn't get any momentum whatsoever over those 6 phases, didn't get anywhere down the field. Play on quickly.
Dupria does what he likes doing, and this is interesting. Taken by Ferree. Can he get there? He's dropped it. Jacques Ferree had the try line at his beck and call. He laments what could have been. Joël Jutge goes to the television judge in the sky. But it looks certain, and you can tell from the expression of Jacques Ferree that he's made a meal.
You certainly can. There's no need to go upstairs. Just ask Ferree. He'll tell you who butched that.
Josh Lucy, take a bow once again. The last ditch, desperate defence from Lucy saves the day.
And the
appeared to me to be loose. His foot might have actually kicked his elbow and punched the ball out, but just hold on to the ball, for goodness sakes. Let your forwards get there and recycle it.
Even despite the result, the troublesome thing here with English is the fact that they're not switched on. You know, they just shouldn't have been called napping like that.
Well, the English, they dodge a bullet. Jacques Carré. Maybe he got a bit too excited. Jake White and Eddie Jones, well, they also lament what could have been. Big scrum this.
On your own line, you're under enormous pressure. England should be able to get out of this.
Come on here.
Move the area, we just move it across. Sometimes the ground gets picked up. You can see there's a few holes there in the ground. You can't replace your divots in rugby. You just shift across 5 metres and have another crack. Just interesting to see they're offset. Their left-hand side up a tad. Another repack.
Front rowers collide. Andrew Sheridan, of course, the man in the mix when Al Baxter was put under so much pressure. In that end of season tour a couple of years ago, Matt Dunning also coming to grief. Maybe we'll see that match up again in the quarterfinals.
You move. No. Green, you move before
the short penalty to England, and cool heads are what is required from the English.
Sometimes you wonder with the referee if they're just flipping a coin in their own mind. I just don't want to have another repack, so he's got South Africa there for pushing off the mark or shifting off the mark. But it's got England out of trouble.
And that big, long, spiralling right foot punt of Mike Catt relieves the pressure.
Boy, they're trying to take an inside channel. Sheridan just so powerful through his hips, core stability. The English pack at the moment is moving forward at will on their own ball.
So there's plenty at stake in this match. It's over a quarter gone. And South Africa, they lead on the scoreboard. They also look more dangerous in these sort of exchanges.
Good setup there. You can see Metfield moving ahead of the man with the ball in hand. The English have pulled it down.
Van Heerden.
Very wide.
So Dupree hesitates and decides to take it on himself. He'll have another crack at it. More Dupree. They shuffle it on. Stain couldn't find Boyden. Play on, says the referee. South Africa try to get support back one. Smith picks and drives.
Playing with a lot of confidence, the South Africans, a lot of patience. Here with a box kick.
Peterson follows. And Saki, well, did he knock it on? Yes, he did. Joël Jutge. It's a pretty handy halfback himself, apparently, Jutge. And Paul Saki. Well, the inexperience of some of the members of this English side. Paul Saki makes his Rugby World Cup debut tonight, Stade de France.
South Africans would have done their homework with Saki and Robinson in terms of their, I guess, not their dislike, but they're not overly accomplished in the air. A lot of box kicks we're seeing. We've seen Robinson having to field a couple of kicks as well.
So the leadership will need to come from men like that. Martin Corrie, Mike Catt. Some of the older heads on the shoulders out there, Bendoa.
Well, someone's got to make a decision as to how they're actually going to get upfield. At the moment, all they're doing is punching it back to South Africans. South Africans are kicking out. They put pressure on the English line out, or they're driving it off their own, box kicking. England are just simply stuck in their own half.
There's another man of experience. His 51st Test cap, Josh Lucy. The Springboks back inside goes Stain. Van Heerden arrives. And Dupree has options to the left and the right. He comes to Boyder on the right. Back inside. Smith takes the tackle. Field goal time from Montgomery. And that's a wobbler from Percy.
That's a bizarre option for mine, unless I've missed something and they're playing advantage.
But he's a bizarre sort of character, Percy Montgomery, isn't he? You're never quite sure what might come from his bag of tricks.
You can understand them wanting to get points and get up in this game, but in terms of the domination they have and the ability to recycle the ball, I don't think it's an option that they have to take.
That's exactly right. I mean, they can literally hang on. They're so dominant at the breakdown at the moment. They can hang on to the ball for multiple phases. They need to be patient. Just a bizarre option.
Percival Colin Montgomery, one of the great enigmas of rugby, has the ball in his hands again. We've seen that many a times in his career. The left foot carry on, taken well by Urbana.
Great weighted kick. Allowed the chase to get there at the same time as the opponent.
Boyder and Durant at the back. Boyder picks and drives. Faree gets his shoulders into the action as well. So Dupree snipes blind. 10-0 the Springboks lead. Matfield.
Springboks just eating up the left-hand side of the field. They now got all this space to the right to do something with it.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, I've had an obsession with pick and go short side on the left-hand side of the field for some reason, and then opening it up. It makes you meters slowly, very, very slowly, but it's going to really put some pressure on the English defence.
Inch by inch, the Springboks edge closer to the try line. Now it's Stade with a drop goal attempt. Francois Stade. Well, in the early part of his career, you'd almost say that he's a field goal specialist, but not that time.
Maybe Eddie Jones feels like he owes England a drop goal from the 03 World Cup. He wants to get one back against them, but they seem to be taking this option far too often.
It's obviously in their game plan. I refuse to believe two players could make such bizarre choices.
That actually hit right up the top of the right-hand post. The Stade field goal is Ashvin Williams and the suspended Springbok flanker, Schaupberger. Honda, this 10-point lead for the Springboks. Once again, Montgomery.
Those field guys just giving away vital field position.
Habana, again the chaser. Robinson takes, calls the mark, plays on quickly. Speedy Gonzalez. Jason Robinson. Oh, he's a barrel of speed, Robinson. Eventually brought down by Rousseau. He's hard to tackle, Robinson. Out to the left they come. Farrell off the left boot. Solid option from Farrell this time. Gives them territory.
Robinson is the one player in this English team that South Africa can't bet on doing certain things. He turned them around against Wales in 03. He can just turn and shift so quickly.
Great quick tap, spied the opportunity. A couple of forwards, getting a little bit tired. Fantastic footwork. No communication though from the English backup players. He had to turn around, couldn't find anybody, but they were actually there. No one just told them. No one told him that they were there to back him up.
One of the great counter-attackers in the modern game, Jason Robinson. And Smith peels and passes. Rousseau. This time, the Springboks have to dig themselves out of their own quarter. And it's on the boot of Dupree. What's Paul Saki got? Steps off his left, goes back inside. Was there obstruction there? Play on, says Jutge.
They're struggling at the breakdown England to recycle quick ball.
Perry, the little box kick. And Dupree. Well, he read it well. James to Montgomery. Montgomery time for a cup of tea and then the leftward spiral. Finds touch.
Space. 10 minutes left in this half. England have managed to put the brakes on South Africa, whose handling errors have cost them, including that one over the try line.
Terrific option there for South Africa because they can put pressure on this line out. Boyder reading it quite well. Got it at the front.
Ben Kay flew high for the English. Now it's taken on by Easter. Scored 4 tries against the Welsh in that warm-up demolition. Farrell off the left. Charge down South Africa. And Robinson has to go back and clean things up for his teammate, his ex-Wigan teammate's mistake, Andy Farrell.
Great pressure there from the Springboks. Put James, put Farrell onto the left boot. Just taking too much time. Oh, that's a great chase. That just shows the desperations that the Springboks have taken into this match.
Look up the word desperation in the dictionary, and tonight you'll find a picture of Butch James. That was inspirational stuff from the Springbok fly half. Stain. Oh, there's ice on that one. It comes down again for Robinson. He juggles backwards. Perry under pressure.
Okay.
Noon gets in there for England. Martin Corey, the skipper. They drive it up. They settle things down, the English. They're a little rattled. Perry to Mike Cat, and Mike Catwell hasn't quite found touch. Yes, he has. The flag is up. There's a little trickle of claret rolls down the right cheek of Brian Havana.
At the moment, I think the English will take that. Isn't the world's best kick, but it buys them a little bit of time. They just need to settle things down. They need to find a pattern of play which is going to suit them. At the moment, I just don't see one.
Well, Matfield, no sign of that injury there as he feeds Fickus Fun Heeden over the halfway line. Dupria. It's obviously a tactic from South Africa. The Havana chase. Robinson under pressure, but he does well.
Does very well. Cleaning up the...
A small Jason Robinson, when you line him up against some of the other fullbacks in this Rugby World Cup tournament, so the tactic there is to try and get above him. He's been able to answer it thus far, Robinson. That kick finds space and the touchline. South Africa on the attack.
Great kick, Butch James. South Africans just continue to apply that pressure. They've been down here a couple of times now. 2 of the times they've opted for field goals. Wrong choice. Let's hopefully if they get their hands on the ball this time, they're going to make it count and pull away some points.
South African line out defence again. They're going to try and put some heat on England. They've gone for shorter options. Seems to be working a bit more.
Number 5.
4+1. You can see the halfback is at the back. I think that's Kay.
Number 1 green. Number 1 green. Thank you. It's too much space.
That's how he reads it from here.
As Durant just gets a little word of advice from the referee. Over the back, it's knocked on by Boyta. So advantage England. Easter cleans up.
Ugly play by England. It's one of those moves you really have to pull it off.
Mike Cat
on the left foot, ordinary kick.
Well, he was under plenty of pressure. Here's Montgomery. Field goal number 3 from the Springboks. What about this one? None out of 3. Out to the right it goes. So the tactic continues.
There he is, the point-scoring machine. Incredible stats. So many records for South Africa.
One shy of 800, Percy Montgomery. Maybe that's the milestone that he has in his sights with all the field goal attempts. He equals the record of most test caps for a South African this evening at Stade de France.
Butch James has the right idea, peppering the sidelines, turning the English around, pinning them inside their own 22. Gets to a point where that pressure becomes too much, they will crack.
East van der Westhuizen holds that record for the Springboks. 89. He also holds the record for having scored the most test tries for the Rainbow Nation. Brian Havana second, and one thinks that by the end of Havana's career, we'll go pretty close to the top.
The thing about field position is at some stage of the game, England are going to make a mistake in their own 22. You're down there enough, you'll pick up the error.
Not that time from Ben Kay.
Pressure applied to Mike Cat in this clean kick here. There we go. Talk about pressure.
So that was Stevens. What he was doing, he was standing in attack as a defensive line, but he was standing up in almost an offensive line off the ruck, trying to stop the South Africans coming through. He's going to bring him out.
Joel Jutge calls out Stevens to have a bit of a word.
You are in front of the ball and you are offside and with your shoulder. Okay? Thank you very much.
Well, it's a tactic that's been used an enormous amount in rugby, and it's really whether you engage the other team. And there's Stevens trying to grab guys coming through. You can't just stand off by position and lay guys out. They're just testing him there. They got the penalties. Nice piece of work there by the South Africans.
So with less than 5 minutes to go before Orange's half-time here at Stade de France. This mercurial fullback for South Africa in his 89th test, Percy Montgomery, sums up the challenge, strikes it well. Welcome to 800, Percy. 802 test points for the fullback from South Africa that sends his side 13 points clear of the English.
Farrell restarts for England. They've scrambled in this game to stay within 13 points of South Africa, who probably should be further ahead. They'll be welcoming half-time. Less than 4 minutes now.
Stade comes back to the trio. And Butch James happy to put that one into touch. Haven't really done too much wrong with South Africans, have they?
Well, Smith's talk about how they're settled in terms of their numbers, in terms of their coaching. There's ever been more videoed coaching staff at the moment than White and Eddie Jones sitting together. But the way they're playing at the moment, they're just taking the right options at the right time. The only difference I'd probably make is maybe just engage them a little bit more in forwards at the recycle as opposed to going for the drop goals.
I think Butch James has had one of his smartest games at 10. His kicking performance tonight, just frustrating the English, keeping them pinned inside their own 10. Starts to eat away at you after a while.
England with a 5-2 set up there and then a loop to the front. Nicely taken.
Out through the English backline hands it goes. Finishes with Farrell, who takes the hit, and once again, lack of cohesion from the English. Martin Corrie, the skipper.
The English actually having not a lot of trouble getting over the advantage on the first phase. Beyond that, one, they look lost. They're lacking composure. Technically, have a look at another turnover.
Van Heeden did the job for South Africa. There's space out wide, but the box through the Priya as it back inside he goes. Beat Saki to Priya. Looming is Peterson. Peterson takes the pass. And JP, well, let's all be okay. Scores the second for the Springboks. And they celebrate in the crowd, Eddie Jones and all.
It's just sheer confidence. Havana had a cracker last week. This week it's JP Peterson again. Two wingers. How many tries in World Cups or just rugby generally are scored off the ability to turn over and shift? This is an enormous amount of confidence. England were pouring through and just show those jet shoes.
Well, I'm impressed by the Priya here. Plenty of pace. Peterson loomed on the outside. Shut the gate. And look, there was actually an opportunity for England, wasn't it? Drop ball from South Africa. The English came through, looking for the turnover. But the Springboks showing plenty of confidence. Dupree twisting, turning, winding the legs up. Beat Saki. Robinson in two minds. Once Peterson got his hands on the ball with that right line in sight. Game over.
So Percy Montgomery the extras for the Republic, converts John Paul Roger Peterson's try. He was the leading try scorer in the Super 14 season of 2007. He continues to do exactly that for his country, South Africa, and Brian Habana gives him a pat on the head. Well done, son.
Well, unfortunately, the halfback before that pass was Oz Durant, unfortunately just didn't hit his target, or maybe the runners were going on the wrong line. That's what you'd say as a prop.
So a stack of work for the English to do in the second half. Plenty for Brian Ashton to say at half-time. Only seconds away here at Stade de France. And Butch James, once again, solid option, good result.
I've not seen him kick this well for a long time. Butch James is not a world-renowned clearer of the ball, but I tell you what, he's on song tonight.
Well, I think the difference is there's no heat on him. From the English back row, they're not coming at him with the same kind of pressure. Got a four-pack dominating half-time.
So you saw the look on the face of the English skipper there, Martin Corrie. What happened then? Well, I'll tell you, 20 points happened to South Africa and none to England. The South Africans lead at Stade de France. That's Oranges. We'll be back in a moment on Network 10. High definition digital with Bill Woods.
They're back out for the second half. Warming up now. I can tell you, Jake White had a big smile on his face, chatting with his players as they came out of the tunnel. And why not? They've done everything just about right, except perhaps for those field goal attempts. But then again, maybe that's what the game plan was for the South Africans. They're still 20-0 in front. Matt Field looks still to be suffering no ill effects from that early fall. But who will they rest if they stay in charge in this game with a view to the quarterfinals? Returning to Rupert McCall, Ben Darwin and Ben Chew.
So Butch James, solid first half from the South African fly half, gets things back underway. And to the contrary, the look on Brian Ashton's face as he came out of the tunnel must have been one of confusion and question as to how England can get themselves back into this match.
It's good to see the English forwards here. I think they're going to take the right plan. They've just got to try to engage and recycle, hopefully with a box kick with a good chase here.
So it looks already that England have made the change at halfback. Sean Perry is off and Andy Gomersholt wears, well, he doesn't wear the 9, he wears the number 20, but he's playing at halfback. And what sort of a difference can that make?
This time around, Butch James gave that one a little bit too much legs on that kick. Still not a bad result. 22 dropout for England.
So these sides have met twice before in Rugby World Cup history. In 1999 at this ground, the Stade de France, on the back of the boot of Yanni de Beers, 34 points including 5 drop goals. South Africa triumphed. And then England, under the captaincy of Martin Johnson, had their revenge in 2003 in Perth. 25-6 was the score at Subiaco Oval, and there'll be plenty of rugby fans watching from Perth. They love the 15-man game there. I hope you got up to watch it.
Great take from Robinson. They're really peppering him with the high balls, but he's definitely been up to it tonight. If anyone in the English team can hold their head high after their first half, he's one of them.
Jason Robinson giving English fans, and there are plenty here in the stands, a few glimpses of hope in that first half. Not too much for the English as Simon Shaw gets some blood attended to.
Well, if there isn't a danger for South Africa, is this midfield bomb that Robinson can take. See the pressure there coming on the kicker. That's the difference. Butch James doesn't have a huge amount of pressure on at the moment. But Robinson can counter so well. He said before he did it against Wales in 03 and really brought them back into the game. A Robinson try from here can really turn it around.
Absolutely. To date, however, the South African chase has been pretty good. But one time they fell asleep, you're right. Jason Robinson really made them pay for that with a fantastic run inside his own half.
So Simon Shaw returns to the field of battle. One of 3 English players born in Africa. He not so much South Africa, but Nairobi in Kenya. He lived there till he was 16. And the English, with the weight of Shaw and his fellow forwards.
With Matfield there, he's pulled himself through onto the ball. He was onside.
Okay.
Still there.
Across the 50.
Hands away.
Go the men in white.
Supports. White supports. Quicker. Okay?
Joël Jutge, the Frenchman, officiating at Stade de France this evening.
Pretty sure the referee was telling the English there he wants them to get the ball out quicker. Well, I'm sure they want the ball out quicker too. It's easier said than done.
I guess the big challenge for England is when they do get it out quicker. What options do they have? I mean, Mike Catt and Andy Farrell, they just looked a little bit lost in that first half.
Well, there's a turn of events. The South African left-hand side makes it a harder pass to Catt.
That's a better kick, better option. Find the corners. Habana isn't a great kicker.
He employs the tactic Brian Habana.
Made me look like a goose.
Well, he did well to stay in the field of play. Habana tiptoed down the sideline Serge Blanco, one of the great French rugby union players of the past, scored that heartbreaker against Australia back in 1987, the semi-final. Tommy Lawton gave chase. He couldn't get to Serge, and the French went through to the final, beaten by the All Blacks, of course, 20 years ago.
Definitely a better option from that kick. They just need to try to sustain some pressure on the Springboks. They've had it all their own way so far.
Not straight. Not straight.
Doesn't help.
Green.
Well, it wasn't a bad option. That you've really got to try to hit that back ball at some stage of the game. I think they probably would have hit their target, but the throw just got to be straight, and that's going to play on the mind.
No ball, no ball, no ball, no ball.
Reagan for the rest of the half. He's got to throw his target well. He's got to hit his line, and just a bit too high too.
Well, Tom Rees was the man who ended up with his hands on it. I've hardly called Tom Rees all match, so the young English flanker not really getting amongst the action too much. He'll have to lift, as will his side in the second half, as Dupria looks for Habana again on the chase. Robinson, spectacular. Here comes Boyder. On the bounce, Bucky's Boyder takes it to the 22. A try here for South Africa almost will put England out of business so early in the second half. Stade caught behind the advantage line. And the penalty to South Africa. Hands in the ruck.
Well, the South Africans really giving the English a lesson in tactical kicking tonight. Their box kicks have been absolutely spot on. Brian Habana flying through. That looks like a cramp, which is fairly innocent, although a little bit bizarre only 45 minutes into the match.
Well, again, it's about getting in the opposition half and making them make mistakes. England, another mistake, maybe another 3 points to South Africa.
Montgomery makes it 23-0. Just what South Africa needed to tighten the screws on England in this game.
So supporters from all nations involved in this Rugby World Cup converge on France and Millennium Stadium, where you'll see that blockbuster later on this evening Australian time. The Wallabies and Wales going head-to-head. You'll see the pictures on Network 10. High definition Dolby surround sound.
England turnover.
So England surround themselves around the ball carrier. Gomersall, who has replaced Parry at halfback. Once again, indecision from the English. Coriani goes one way, and that is straight ahead. Somebody has to do it. Here they come. Cat back inside. Gomersall, cat to the right. Once again, indecision. Robinson bouncing around like a pinball. Out to the left. Farrell, the long pass. This is Ben Kay with a left foot chip. And Saki chased it through. The second rower.
Well,
I'm not sure if that is the skill that Brian Ashton wants to see from him.
You've got to do the things that are appropriate to your own skill level. And a second rower out wide with one winger outside and trying to make a chip and chase is probably the wrong option. They need to have more faith in their attack, the English, to recycle the ball and score the points.
Yeah, you're right, Ben. I just think they're getting schooled at the breakdown. They just don't have confidence in their ability to recycle ball, phase in, phase out, and the ball that they are recycling after a couple of phases is slow ball. And this day and age, you cannot win a rugby game with slow ball. The defences are just getting too good. They're getting up too fast. Quick ball's the key. They're getting none of it.
Johan Muller warms up on the sidelines. Jake Wright almost has the luxury to give his bench players game time this evening. 23-0 the South Africans lead. They won't want to get too cocky. Just over half an hour left in the match as Saki returns the kick. Matfield, concerned for an injury early. He's bounced back well. Dupria. Well, the referee gets in the road. And Dupria's option is...
He's got that on a string.
A solid one.
Well, where was the English defence coming up off the line? Dupria had literally all the time in the world.
It's a good point. How many times have we seen George Gregan pick up the ball and have three defenders jumping all over him?
Jason Robinson's been in a battle. Oz Durant, not one of the prettier faces at this Rugby World Cup. Certainly effective come scrum time. Apologies to Mrs. Durant. As the English try to get something going. Gomersall.
See again, they're trying to use the same tactic as the Springboks. Too deep, too flat. The chase couldn't get through, and now the Springboks have the opportunity to attack.
So we saw that sequence in the first half. The high kick, Robinson performs bravely. And my cat this time, off the right boot, doesn't find touch. Montgomery. The banana kick from Percy Montgomery. One bounce, the wrong one into touch.
Well, I guess when it's your night, it's your night. Everything you touch turns to gold. Percy, he would have practiced this at training 1,000 times. Very rarely gets to do it, but on a night like this, why not give it a go?
I've never seen the South Africans kick with such accuracy in general field play. They might not be hitting their drop goals, but they're hitting the sideline pretty well.
Yeah.
Butch James, Francois Steyn, Percy Montgomery, even Dupree at halfback. They're all kicking well tonight. Corrie brings it down for the English. The skipper. Gomersall ferrets at the back and hoists it high. Into touch it goes, and so half an hour left, and England with it all to do as this line out forms right on the halfway line.
I think the English at this point now have to try something fairly radical, as no doubt their current game plan, if it exists, is not working. They need to have a crack at something different.
I think an option would be hitting Robinson wide or getting him, trying to insert him there through to centres. South Africa's got an inexperienced midfield. It might be an opportunity for them at the moment. The way they're engaging the South Africans is not working.
So Van Heerden has it at the back for the box. Onwards they drive.
There's our box kick again.
Dupree, Habana gives chase. Robinson catches, and bravely so. Almost piggybacks one of his big forwards as well. Jason Robinson saves the day for England. Sheridan.
Well, I mentioned Jason Robinson can be suspect under the high ball. That's the last time you'll hear me say that, because he has been fantastic tonight.
Well, he's been England's best. What can Gomersall orchestrate? And my cat had plenty of time. A big kick off the boot of Cat.
One thing the South Africans are doing off that kick chase, as soon as Robinson takes the ball, they're absolutely desperate in defence to wrap him up.
We saw Muller warming up. He comes on for backings Boyter. And Robinson may be fielding those high kicks, but of course, even when he does, it just builds and builds and builds the pressure on England. So it may not cause a turnover for South Africa, but it just maintains that vice-like grip on this game.
There's the Springboks. Once again, through Durant. Apply the pressure. Apply the screws to the English. Dupree, Habana. Deja vu. Robinson. The step off the right. Little Jason Robinson. Couldn't get the pass away, and Forey has it. Can he get around Saki? So the kick bounces off the foot of the defender and into touch.
Forey has plenty of toe for a 13. He's a big boy. Bit of an opportunist little run there. Robinson did everything right. He's just got nobody running off him. Cat in two minds. Quick hands from Peterson to Forey. Couldn't quite outrun Saki and co. But again, little chip and off England, so we get a South African line out, not too far outside from their line.
Robinson can't do all this on his own, can he? He's trying so hard, trying to counter-attack out of positions he certainly shouldn't do, trying to hit a target that simply wasn't there, and that's caused the turnover on this occasion. South Africa had the advantage.
It's interesting, I mean, Muller's come on for Boyter, I assume that means, well, we would have assumed from that Victor Matfield must be fine because they now have no replacement for him.
That, and he's such a stubborn bloke, he simply wouldn't want to come off the field, but the opportunity to beat England at the World Cup.
So Tom Rees leaves the field for England. He played for the England under 16 side, under 18s, under 19s, under 21s, did Rees. But he hasn't really had that much of an impact tonight, and he makes way for Lewis Moody.
South Africans will not want to leave this part of the field without points of some type.
Matfield secures possession for the Springboks, charging towards the line. Van Heerden at the back.
Really working hard to try to set up this drive. England have pulled it down. They've made the mistake again. They've got penalty advantage.
So Dupree draws a few, finds Peterson, but I think all in all South Africa happy to let that advantage accrue and possibly take another shot at penalty goal.
Oh look, you'd have to take the shot, I would think now. Every point you get further ahead of England as the clock ticks away, that's more pressure that gets applied to them. They're going to have to start doing some radical things, England, if they genuinely still think they're a chance of trying to turn this game around.
This game is almost a direct reflection of the 2003 game in the World Cup. They played each other in the pool phases. England turned the screws through a dominant forward pack. England were kicking sensibly, and South Africans never seemed to be able to get down the right end of the field. Now, South Africans sweet revenge 4 years later. Here they are dominating in such a great fashion.
And Monty gets the opportunity to add to his points tally.
Montgomery raises the flags, 26-0 the Boks.
Well, they're not racking up the tries, South Africa, as they did in the second half against Samoa. England are very staunch opponents, but they are controlling this game so well. It is points ticking over and certainly time running out for England.
Opportunity knocks for Robinson. He chases his own kick, and Steyn was there to take it. Dishes to Rousseau.
That's a sign of a confidence player. He can stand there under that much pressure and transfer the ball off a high ball. Steyn obviously has been given plenty of time to do what he likes to.
Composure from the South Africans until it got to JP Peterson. He went without it.
I think he had a little bit of a Captain Cook, a bit of a look upfield, and saw nobody. Pictured himself opening up, running down the sideline.
Well, it's all right, isn't it, when you're 26-0 up on the scoreboard? And he was around Saki. It would have been an interesting race between those two.
I would have thought coming into this game would have been a huge focus as Habana comes off. Would have been a huge focus on Habana in the way he played last week. And then we have JP Peterson really having a cracker tonight. So England, you know, their focus goes on one player, comes off another.
Absolutely, depth-wise, they've got both wings covered pretty easily.
So Ruan Pienaar comes on for Brian Habana. It'll be interesting to see what the South Africans do with their backline. Playmaker, scrum half, fly half, replacing a winger.
Take a stab in the dark and say perhaps Montgomery will go to the wing, and Pienaar, who's played a lot of fullback, could end up there.
So Mark Reagan also makes way for George Shooter in the English camp. It's been a hard night at the office for Reagan.
He's thrown reasonably well given the amount of heat that's been on their line out. That's probably been a surprisingly good area for them. They've hit their targets most of the time.
So that's
put the ball. Okay, fine. Don't move, no ball. Don't move.
Watering at the net.
You can hear the South Africans screaming at the 9 to put the ball in as soon as they could. They felt like they had that left-hand side. Here it comes again.
Easter picks up the back, finds his support. Moody, Gomersall, they shift it to the right. Farrell, Robinson with a little bit of space inside. He's done the hamstring. Jason Robinson has pulled the left hamstring.
Sniper.
He's been hit by a sniper at Stade de France, and it's disappointing for Jason Robinson. Well, that is not just a twinge. That looks like a significant rupture of the hamstring. And Jason Robinson.
Time off.
I mean, you're 26 points up. There's still good sportsmanship from the South Africans. They could have easily just dug in there and gave him a stick on the way down. South Africa lead England 26-0.
Matthew Tate, who was warming up a little earlier on the sideline, gets a run. Jason Robinson, well, they lost Barkley, they lost Johnny Wilkinson. Both those players still capable of coming back. If this is a torn hamstring, not good. England really are in trouble.
Yes, that fact reflected, Woodsy, by the side of Jason Robinson limping off the field. I'd be very surprised if he takes any further part in this tournament.
And very deservingly getting a standing ovation as he left. The one player in this English side that can hold their head high. A fine performance in a side really struggling.
So the scrum screws from England. Easter, Gomersall, Cat, Farrell. Here they go, the English. Through Tate, Saki. The tackle made by Montgomery and Free. The right-hand side of the field is open for England this time. Farrell feeds Easter. The defence willing. Back to the right. Or the left it is. Through Lucy. Hasn't had a lot of opportunity tonight, Josh Lucy. Play on, says the referee. Gomersall digs it out. Mike Cat decides to take one himself. Well, he's looked uncertain on more than one occasion tonight. Mike Cat. Farrell. The left foot cross kick. Tate's out there, but he was outnumbered. He couldn't get his hands on the ball, and Ruan Pinner avoids everyone, including the dead ball line. Puts it in the touch.
Tackle injuries, that's very dangerous tackle injury. Against the white player? Against the green? Yes, against the green. On the 5 meters? Dangerous tackle in the air because the jumper don't catch the ball, don't want to play the ball.
I think he's accused the South Africans of interfering with the man in the ball. Is he up for the catch?
That's dangerous.
Well, I mean, he went for the ball. It was Dupria, and
no blame on the referee. The touch judge there obviously hasn't been seen on TV this evening, so felt like he needed to just prove to his mates that he actually was running the line.
It looks like Simon Shaw with the cotton wool in the ear, characteristic trademark of Shaw. There is no number on the jersey. We will confirm in a moment.
Well, the odds would tell you that this is the last throw of the dice for England. They're probably going to go for the drive.
Shooter goes to the back. England caught by Corrie, driven up by his forward teammates. South Africa respond. Still it's there for England though.
I guess the problem with all this when it doesn't work is that you're stuck with slow ball. It's the back line now.
Oh. If you wanted to sum this match up, right there, not only the side of Jason Robinson, it looks like he's been through World War IV, but Mike Cat won off the ruck. A difficult pass, and Mike Cat wasn't up to it.
Well, the hero in that scenario was Vickers van Heerden. As soon as that ball was taken at the back, he was on to the man who had the ball, interfered with enough so they didn't get a quick recycle or a nice drive going, and things go bad to worse, don't they, for England? The problem with having Cat at 10 is they want to play with an enormous amount of width. They've got to have a 10 who's confident shifting the ball off both hands with distance, and Cat just hasn't played this position enough.
Well, this is an interesting play. Big reception for Brian Habana coming back on the field. We thought Jake White might have been giving him a rest, but it was obviously a bloodbed. He also had that cramp as well, or what looked like a cramp. He went down, had the calf muscle massage. So no rest for Habana, even though his team is well on top in this game.
England playing quickly. Easter juggled, managed to regain. Farrell was his target. Gomersall, well, Ben Kay and Andy Gomersall.
Joel, the same thing there. Come on. One green, substitution.
Communication.
No, you won't get too early. I'm sorry. No, you won't get too early.
Gomersall passes the ball when he's told to, pretty much, and the player who was running through there, Ben Kay, just not letting him know when exactly he wanted it.
CJ Vanderlinde coming on for Oz Durant. Big Oz, pretty impressive game again, apart from that halfback pass, but I think CJ Vanderlinde will go to loose head. Border will stay at tight.
Van der Linde takes his place in this scrum, fed by Dupria. He's had a wonderful game. The Springbok halfback. Son of Fourie Dupree Senior, who they say was very, very unlucky not to wear the Springbok jersey. Played number 8 for Transvaal as Paul Saki tries to get something going for the English. Well, they've got a penalty. Played on quickly by Corrie. The tap and the drive, but where was the support?
Oh, way too slow.
JP Peterson.
This is where the South Africans are dangerous. Turnover ball. Here we go.
Base out wide for Stein. The pass to Habana. The cheetah stalks his prey and makes his way downfield. Once again, England on the defence and under pressure.
Well, there's something about the South African team at the moment. If they don't get what they want in attack, they kick to the corners and they kick appropriately and they can still maintain pressure. Whereas England, when they don't get what they want, they make silly mistakes.
Habana, a bit of space to move. I'll tell you what, Perry Freshwater. Sorry, mistaken identity. That wasn't Perry Freshwater. That was Andy Farrell. Did very well in defence there. Didn't lose his cool. Didn't show Brian Habana the sideline, which of course is dangerous work. Good defence.
Andy Farrell. There's a question mark on him in this situation going into the match.
Green ball, 50 metres.
And the midfield for England, well, they haven't really lived up to the expectations of their coach and their supporters.
England not straight. Another mistake made in their own 22. It's just absolutely killing them at the moment, allowing South Africa to rack up these points, keep the distance between themselves.
Let's see how ruthless this current Springbok team is.
It's 26-0 to the box. This play back inside, staying to Dupria. He skirts to the right, Dupria. Gets around one, finds Peterson. And Peterson says, thank you very much, Fourie Dupria. I'll score the try, but I'll pay you the compliment of setting it up. South Africa, once again, score a try at Stade de France. And they lead 31 points to 0.
Well, Ben Chun, you asked. That's how ruthless they can be.
Very ruthless, and obviously Brian Habana and JP Peterson got together and decided it was JP's turn to score a couple of tries. Dupria, we saw before in one of the earlier tries how quick he is. He picked that ball up, took a couple of steps backwards, skirted the ruck area, drew in Saki. JP Peterson walked over the line. Awesome display from the Springboks.
Just watch this kick go over.
Well, he's confident, Ben Darwin. As confident as Percy Montgomery was to add another 3 to the score. So Percy Montgomery.
Restart now. What can England salvage from this game with less than 16 minutes to go? What can they do to give them some sort of platform? South Africa breaks again.
Once again the Springboks. There's Russo. Hasn't got the speed of Williams or Peterson. He puts it on the boot and it rolls into touch.
Well, this is getting very ugly very quickly for England. They're playing at will. England really capitulating, to be honest. Let's be brutally honest.
Do you think Eddie Jones and Jake White are enjoying themselves? Both these coaches have been copying a hiding from England. Quick throw in.
Eddie Jones wearing the Springbok on his chest this evening. That will rile a few of the Wallaby supporters back home in Australia. We are watching Network 10, this telecast in high definition Dolby surround sound. Farrell back inside to his English support. Can they get any consolation from this match? Gomersall took the place of Sean Perry at half-time. And those wearing white in the crowd, not as loud and boisterous as they were at the start of this match. And I guess if Australia can win against Wales tomorrow night, our time tonight, back home in your Australian lounge rooms at Millennium Stadium, it looks like that this will be the quarter-final.
Oh, you're dead right, Rupert. It just makes that Wallabies-Wales game even more crucial, because you don't have to be a genius to work out which of these two sides you prefer to face in a quarter-final.
News on Steve Larkham will bring you all the latest after this match. Stephen Larkham jarring his knee at training this afternoon. John Connolly rates him a 50-50 chance.
And Ruan Pinar just showing his versatility. Came on briefly when Brian Habana was in Rugby. Now coming on for Dupree as a proper replacement. And now playing halfback.
Dupree is the man of the match. Absolutely outstanding the way he set up this.
Stand up again, stand up again, stand up again. Nice
hard to argue with you there.
Crash, touch, pause, engage.
So Ruan Pinar feeds this scrum. The Natal Sharks halfback replaces the Blue Bulls halfback. What a great Super 14 final that was. Brian Habana scoring that try at the death.
He's given it to, that's a terrible refereeing decision. I'm sorry, it's scrum time. That scrum didn't go 90. That's 60 degrees at most. Disappointing.
So a couple of bizarre rulings in this match from Joël Jutge, the French referee. Gomersall does use it to Cat. Cat looks to go himself, finds Noon, who's been quiet in this match. To the right they go once again, the English juggle, stutter. Brian Ashton has a headache in the grandstand. Back inside. Lewis Moody finds his forward support.
Oh,
that's better. Kay showing a clean pair of heels, Ben Kay. Mike Cat is the recipient of this pass. Farrell shuffles it back and it breaks down. Saki under the tackle of JP Peterson. He feeds it to Gomersall. Farrell, the left boot, and that's the only option for England. It bounces nicely for Percy Montgomery. 1-2 bounces into touch.
Well, they just have all the time and space in the world, don't they? England put together a nice piece of attack there. What they didn't do is they didn't continue to recycle the ball. They didn't make the offloads when they had to, and so it fell apart when they tried to go lateral again. There's no kick chase coming out of England at the moment.
Well, no, and quite rightly, they're obviously very down on confidence, so getting a little bit carried away there. Farrell could have held on to that. They could have tried to recycle that ball and start again.
And once again, the mother country, the English nation, turns their attention towards Johnny Wilkinson and asks the question, when will Johnny find his way back onto the field, because the English need something.
Well, no offence whatsoever to the English, but that doesn't matter. They simply don't have a team that's going to give him any kind of ball that's going to be of any sort of use to them.
Well, I think where he will make a massive difference is their tactical kicking game. There's no doubt if your forward pack's getting smashed, that doesn't help. But your second option there is with some really smart kicking, you can at least play inside the opposition 22 and make some mistakes. They don't even have that area of the game covered.
As the English roll this small forward so many times, they have looked up this evening and seen the uncertainty in the eyes of Mike Cat and Andy Farrell. Advantage being played here to England. Cat to Farrell, and the ball spilled by Noon will come back for the penalty.
You just go back 17. To the Jason Robinson injury. If you put someone under enough pressure, something's got to give, and in the end England were going to have to lean on Robinson too much, and what gave way was Robinson's hamstring. He was simply too tired to counter-attack and to keep playing the game all on his own. And here's some of the English players getting very excited about that rolling maul. I'm sorry to say it's too late, because they're putting together a nice piece of play at the wrong time of the game.
So what can England salvage from this train wreck tonight at Stade de France? 33-0 South Africa lead.
I guess there'll be a fair few historians thumbing through their records to see the last time England have been held scoreless in a test match, let alone a World Cup game. So hopefully they can salvage that perhaps, at least some points.
But Bobby Skinstead now coming on the field. It's not bad to have an ex-captain of South Africa be able to just pile into your forward pack. You want a statistic to find out what's happened in this game. England have simply turned over the ball double the amount the South Africans have. And you can't do that. You can't try to get recycled ball going if you just keep shifting the ball to the opposition.
So John Smith has done his job. And the new look, Bobby Skinstead. Letting the hair grow a little bit these days, Bobby takes his place. And an opportunity for him as well as Bismarck du Plessis, who replaces the skipper John Smith. So Pinner.
Careful, stay on your feet.
Joel Judge. Judging there that England have knocked on, it's 33-0 the box.
Attacking scrum for England, they break. What can they do with it?
Farrell sends it wide to Noon. Noon to Saki. Back inside. He evades Montgomery, still going Saki.
Leave it alone, no bad green, no bad green.
So Gomersall feeds Farrell. Farrell at the back to Lucy. Here's the big plug forward. That's Matt Stevens. And the player looping round was met by 3 or 4 Springbok defenders. There was no way through there for Josh Lucy.
Playing very laterally England at the moment, just going side to side.
And here they go to the left side. Back inside. It was Easter. Corey. They're 7 or 8 out, the English. Again, the pass inside to Easter. Their crowd wants something. To the left, Cat. Back inside Farrell. But there's a wall of green yet again. Corey. And they turn it over. Pretorius is out there as well. And he nails that ball downfield.
They chase too.
So Tate picks up, kicks it back to South Africa.
Don't you kick it.
Van Heerden thought about it. Oh, big hit from Noon. And forced the knock on. So they salvaged something from that little exchange, the English, but no points.
England were extremely hard on the attack there on the South African try line, and it was amazing how settled the South African D-line was. Everyone just taking their role. No one was coming up hard their line. They didn't have to.
Well, Jamie Noon, renowned for his big hits, pulled off a few of those against the French in a Rugby World Cup warm-up. Forces the knock on, but we haven't seen enough of that tonight. The composure of South Africa winning through, and they look dangerous. New Zealand, of course, will play their second match against Portugal this weekend. The Wallabies against the Welsh. The French have an easier assignment this weekend than last against Argentina. Some great matches still to come on Network 10, the 2007 Rugby World Cup.
What makes this performance from the South Africans even more remarkable is the fact they've come off the back of a very physical game against the Samoans, and they've been able to back up and out-muscle England.
Well, the English scrum finishing on top there, in accordance to the referee anyway. Here they go, the English. There's an opportunity for Tate. He stumbled, got back up again. To the right. Shooter. Once again, Sheridan picks and drives.
This is better from England.
Cole driving his way towards the line. Andrew Sheridan. Cat feeds his supported shooter once again. England scoreless at the moment. They want to change that situation. So do their supporters.
Sabana not rolling away. Not affecting the presentation of the ball, so it's a left goal.
They're just setting up here to go short side on the right-hand side.
Stevens did that. But once again, advantage England. In from the side, South Africa. The English through Gomersall and Cat. Farrell dummied inside. Pass to Montgomery.
Andy Farrell, I'm sorry. The lack of composure there. You do not have to score every time you touch the ball.
An insult to injury. The South Africans earn a penalty from the turnover. Nothing happening here for the English. It's all South Africa.
Well, twice under pressure, Andy Farrell's gone for an offload instead of setting up the next phase. I wonder if the rugby league brain was clicking in there instead of the rugby union brain. Who knows? He's been on this side of the fence for long enough to know better.
34 rugby league tests, Andy Farrell, but he's been tested tonight. There is no doubt about that. And the English backline, well, they've just lacked answers. They've lacked options. They've lacked ideas. And South Africa have it all on the scoreboard.
And Jack White has now cleaned his bench, so to speak. Everybody getting a run, giving some of these Springbok players that are backing up after that Samoan game a bit of a rest, a well-deserved rest, I might add.
Phil Vickery, the English captain, originally on this tour, simply nothing he can do.
Lawrence Delali on the same boat. They watch on helplessly. The English once again wrestled, but Easter does well to evade the clutches and find Shooter. Georgie Shooter. Cat, Farrell, Noon. Not much.
Inside.
England.
Advantage.
They've almost
You play inside.
reached
Number
the
6.
end of their ideas. They receive another penalty. Gomersall taps, plays on quickly. Tate. That wall of green awaits.
England in attack at the moment, just shifting the ball sideways, very easy to defend. The South Africans on a very slow, passive drift, just pushing the English side, or the English backline in particular, towards the sideline. Comes a point when you run out of room.
And there comes a point when you turn it over, as Jamie Noon did on that occasion. Tactics pointed out there from Ben Choon. And those tactics have been successful for South Africa this evening. Frustration from Josh Lucy.
If you want any sign that just says, I give up, it's chipping it in with that kind of distance. Such a shame to see England.
And injuries don't look like that on a rugby field without something serious happening. That's not a cramp, I don't think. Jamie Noon.
Or Josh Lucy. It doesn't look fantastic. I don't know what his other options were. He was isolated there with about 3 Springbok defenders. What do you do, really?
He had nothing, and for a lot of this game, England have had nothing.
Well, what that means is his own forward pack and his own other players weren't getting back hard to help him.
Gomersall, a little snipe. Back into the traffic. Forwards once again. With 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Another turnover.
So turnover to South Africa. England just need to be put out of their misery.
South Africa 140.
Matt Gilligan pass. Pretorius, the pass was knocked down from Saki.
Deliberate, playing advantage for the penalty.
Jamie Noon, he's in all sorts of strife. He joins Jason Robinson on that list. This has been a horror night for England.
That's interesting. They want 35 or 36 perhaps, I don't know.
Pretorius, you would have backed a try for all money if that pass had found the flying Habana.
Well, you can't put the mocker on them completely. You can't put in the death knell, but would you say at this point, Ben Choon, that England's Rugby World Cup is over?
Well, look, I think you could go out on a limb and say, for starters, obviously this result puts them behind a fair bit just in terms of their pool rankings, but confidence-wise, they've also suffered a couple of injuries. The one player that has stood up probably isn't going to play again in this tournament. I'm happy to put the mocker on them and say, yeah, I think they're done with, which again means the Wallabies need to win this game tomorrow.
It won't be easy at Millennium Stadium. 75,000 plus rugby fanatics. Some in gold, most in red. The Dragons take on the Wallabies, and an absolute blockbuster, the big game in Pool B. You'll receive that in your lounge rooms back home in Australia in high definition. Dolby surround sound. Turn it up, because that is going to be big and live and loud on Network 10. Pienaar finds touch.
We've made mention of it earlier, but their kicking game in Tunis, South Africa, has been very direct. They've had an enormous amount of time. They've shifted the ball if they had to, if they wanted to change their angle. It's getting them upfield.
Absolutely, their composure and their variety in attack has been something that we just haven't seen from a Springbok side. And look, I'm willing to go out on a bit of a limb and say this is definitely has got Eddie Jones written all over it.
Well, Eddie Jones went out on a limb, I guess, to make the decision to join the coaching staff of South Africa. The whistle is gone. But he looks happy in the stands with Jake White. I mean, it is mission accomplished as far as they're concerned.
Well, I guess in turn, there's full time.
And the English are put out of their misery by Jake White and his Springbok juggernaut. It has been comprehensive. It's been spectacular at times. But it certainly has been very, very disappointing for the English. 36-0, the Springboks over England at Stade de France. And we'll be back in a moment with Bill Woods and a wrap of this Rugby World Cup match in 2007.